activities and conversations from around the market will come to you on Afia. And just so you know, the Afia Business Morning takes center stage every weekday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. My name is Ubong Kings. Welcome to the Afia Business Morning. Trading on the floor of the Nigerian exchange is open today. The exchange in London opened an hour ago. The New York exchange is yet to open, while in China, opening bells went off at 2 a.m. local time. We'll be looking at how the markets closed as well as our commodity reports. But to get the Afia Business Morning started, and just before we jump into the opening bell, let's bring you up to speed on happenings around us on the Afia News Update. Please stay.
Hello and welcome to the News Update. I'm Joan Odenibo.
On the News Update, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has addressed reports regarding the alleged raid on Urban Radio 94.5 FM in Enugu by its team from the Enugu Zonal Office on Monday, October 14. Meanwhile, in Abuja, the federal government announced on Tuesday the reformation of the committee tasked with renegotiating the 2009 agreement between the government and various university-based unions. In a related development, to prevent a potential strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, the federal government has reinstated a 7-member renegotiation committee to revisit the 2009 agreement with university-based unions. On the foreign scene, reports say Argentina's attempt to overturn a London court decision that left it liable for its €1.56 billion payment related to GDP-linked securities has been rejected by the United Kingdom Supreme Court. And finally, in the update, Thomas Tuchel was poised to become England's new manager after reaching an agreement with the Football Association.
And that's the much you have on the News Update. Do also follow us now on social media platforms at Afia TV Official. I'm Joan Odenibo. Many thanks for watching.
You're welcome back to the Afia Business Morning, and you are indeed watching Opening Bell. Today, we'll look at activities from selected exchanges. We'll talk about the likes of the Nigeria, New York, London, Shenzhen, and Shanghai exchanges. We'll also see how commodities are faring in the open market. But first, let's take a quick look at some business news stories that are making the rounds. And, well, we'll start from the continental economy, where it's reported that Kenya is to restrict the export of raw gold and other minerals. It's reported that Kenya has initiated plans to join about 10 other African nations to restrict the direct export of valuable minerals in their raw forms from the country, which follows the ongoing construction of mega gold processing plants worth around 5.8 billion shillings, which authorities say portends a major policy shift to increase revenue for the government. And still from the from the global economy, it's reported that Google powers AI data centers with nuclear reactors. The tech giant Google, in a new effort to power its AI data centers with clean energy, has announced a deal to purchase nuclear energy from multiple small modular reactors developed by California-based Kairos Power, where the first such reactor to power Google's data centers is expected to be operational by 2030, followed by additional reactor deployments through to 2035. Details of these stories and more will come to you on the segment Global Business. Away from that, let's move now to the flows of our featured exchanges. And we'll be starting on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Like they say, charter begins at home, so yes, by all means, we'll start here. And there's reported that the NGX All-Share Index as of yesterday closed on a high, rising by 0.33% to close at 98,549.94 points. A total of 286,044,523 shares, valued at 26,817,025,781 naira. 27 kobo were traded across 9,650 deals, with equity capitalization of 59,707,337,110,769 naira, 38 kobo. Now we'll take a look at the biggest gainers and the biggest losers of the day. You may be interested to know the biggest gainer of the day was Champion, which rose by 9.97%. Other gainers were the likes of Tantalizer, Wando, Aradel, and Eterna. However, on the other hand, Keverton topped the losers list with a decline of 10%. Other losers were Triple G, CI Leasing, Jais Bank, and Deer Cup. We're going to a quick break. When we return, we'll be looking at activities from other selected exchanges. I'm talking about the likes of the New York Stock Exchange, the London Exchange, the Shenzhen and Shanghai exchanges, which of course are in China. And you're interested to know that the Afia Business Morning and indeed Opening Bell. We'll be right back after this timeout, so please stay, don't go nowhere. Yeah, welcome back to the Afia Business Morning, and you are watching Opening Bell. We're moving straight to the floor of the New York Stock Exchange this morning, where it's mostly dips and index values across the board, except of course the NYSE US 100 index, which is up at 0.06%. The NYSE Composite DJ is down, however, at 0.09%. Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 0.30%. The S&P 500 Index is down 0.31%. The NYSE FANG TM Index is down 1.29%. Nasdaq Composite, Nasdaq 100, both down 0.75% and 1.04% respectively. And now we're moving to the United Kingdom, stopping off at the exchange at London. It's more dips again, the only rise there being the FTSE 250, which is up at 0.04%. However, the FTSE 100, FTSE 350, FTSE All-Share Index are all down 0.56%, 0.40%, and 0.35% respectively. And from here, we're going all the way to Asia, stopping off at the exchange in China. And the Shenzhen exchange comes in first, and is all dips. The index values across the board. Shenzhen Composite Index is down 2.53%. SZSE Composite Index is down 2.10%. The Chinex Index is also down at 3.22%. Now, the same order of events, it's characterized here at the exchange at Shanghai, still in China, where it's all dips in index values across the board. The SSE Composite Index is down 2.53%. The SSE 50 Index down 2.50%. Star 50 Index down 2.93%. The SSE 180 Index, the SSE 380 Index, the CSI 300 Index are all down 2.61%, 2.54%, and 2.66% respectively. Now we're going on another break, and when we return, we'll be looking at commodity prices as well as a consumer price watch in the open market. You may want to follow this program and join in on the conversation on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. Kindly tap in the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business, and while you're there, do well to like and of course hit the subscribe button so you get notifications on all business related content coming to you from Afia TV. And you can also join and be part of our social media family, because we are on Instagram with the handle at Afia Business _. Do well to follow us and be part of all the action happening there on social media. The Afia Business Morning and Indeed Opening Bell will be right back after this time out. Please stay. My name is Ubong Kings.
I am Marvelous Apamaga.
I am Chioma Akbala.
My name is Ifulaya Ndule, but I'm living in our market speaking.
You're welcome back, and I am Ubong Kings. This is still the Afia Business Morning, and you're watching Opening Bell right here on Afia TV. It's time to check in on commodity prices, and we will begin with precious metals this morning. Interestingly, it's upward movement for gold today, and silver as well is up. However, platinum and palladium are both down at 0.55% and 0.94%. Gold and silver up at 0.59% and 1.23% respectively. Now let's take a look at energy. Energy, on the other hand, is more of dips than rises in index values across board. Natural gas, however, is the only commodity that is up at 1.84%. Ethanol is down 1.31%. Coal is down 0.42%. Oil Brent is down at a whooping 4.74%. However, Brass River and Kwaibo are the ones with the highest margins of dips at 4.98% respectively. Oil Bonny Light is down at 2.84%. Away from that, let's take a look at industrial metals now. Industrial metals, on the other hand, I'm interested to know is more of dips as well. Iron ore is the only commodity that is up at 0.63%. And on the other hand, aluminum is down at 1.47%, lead is down 1.31%, copper is down 0.73%, nickel is down 1.60%, zinc is down 1.42%, tin is also down at 1.96%. You are watching the Afia Business Morning. This indeed is Opening Bell. You may want to follow this program and join in on the conversation on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. Kindly tap in the search bar www.youtube.com/@Afia Business. While you're there, remember you should like and subscribe so you get notifications on all business-related content coming to you from Afia TV. And just so you know as well, you can be part of our social media community. We are live on Instagram with the handle at Afia Business _. Do well to follow us right there. Up next, we'll be taking a look at the hikes in prices of food commodities in the open market, as well as the hikes in fuel prices. And on that note, I'll see you tomorrow on the Opening Bell when the exchanges reopen for trading. And just so you know, the Afia Business Morning will be right back with the segment Global Business. My name is Ubong Kings. Stay tuned.
Join me every weekday on the Afia Business Morning as we bring to you a trilogy of business segments. The opening bell, where we see activities from our selected stock exchanges. The global business, where we bring you up to speed on business activities making the rounds all over the world. And we bring the conversation home on the segment Eastern Business Reports, as we discuss business activities and issues bedeviling businesses in the Southeast region. My name is Ubon Kings. Join the Afia Business Morning every weekday 10 a.m. to 12 noon, exclusive to Afia TV on DSTV channel 254 and Go TV channel 17. The Afia Business Morning. Business unusual.
Thank you for rejoining me on the Afia Business Morning. Welcome to Global Business, where we will take us news stories around the continent of Africa and indeed the rest of the world. My name is Ubon Kings. Here are the headlines that are making the rounds. We'll start off from Africa, where it's reported that Kenya is to restrict the export of raw gold and other minerals. And away from that, Google powers AI data centers with nuclear reactors. There's more right after this time out. Please stay. This indeed is Global Business right here on the Afia Business Morning, and we will begin with business stories from Africa. It was reported that Kenya has initiated plans to join about 10 other African nations to restrict the direct export of valuable minerals in their raw forms from the country. And this follows the ongoing construction of mega gold processing plants worth around 5.8 billion shillings, which authorities say portends a major policy shift to increase revenue for government. However, according to Kenya's Principal Secretary for Mining, Elijah Ngwani, the building of the gold and granite plants is projected to be completed mid-next year, where gold, gemstones and granite will be the first batch of minerals to be exported from the processing plant after value addition. Meanwhile, over the years, the raw exports of these commodities have been frowned at following the loss of funds by the continent, as processing is usually carried out elsewhere. Now, something I want to point out real quickly for sake of emphasis. Two things maybe. First is the fact that Kenya is initiating a plan to join about 10 other African countries, so to speak, to actually create restriction on the export of its raw materials, valuable minerals, starting with gold. That's understandable. See the B part here. The B part is the fact that over these years, by reason of this reportage, it's clearly stated in the last paragraph that meanwhile, over the years, raw exports of these commodities, I'm talking about the likes of gold, gemstones, and granite from outside Africa, had been frowned at, following the loss of funds. That's the part that interests me. Loss of funds. Why? Because the continent much money, because these things are processed elsewhere. This is important to note. These things are processed elsewhere. And that brings a lot of questions to the fore, really, a lot of questions. Now, what will stop the continent, Africa, being able to process its own raw materials with reference to minerals, precious minerals like this, process it and sell? I think this is one of the reasons Kenya is deciding to join 10 other African countries to actually restrict the direct export of valuable minerals in their raw forms, which, if they actually go through the processing, they make more money, because you pay more. People don't pay so much for the raw, they pay more for the refined product. It's just what it is. I think it's a good business strategy to emulate. Moving on, We're going to other business news stories, and this time from the world of aerospace, where it's reported that SpiceJet, an Indian low-cost airline which was placed under enhanced surveillance by the Directorate General of Civil Aviation (DGCA), has recently been removed after the airline successfully raised 3,000 Indian rupee crore through the Qualified Institutional Placement (QIP) process, where the regulator will continue to conduct random spot checks of SpiceJet's operational aircraft to ensure safety. However, the DGCA carried out 266 spot checks at various locations as part of the enhanced surveillance mechanism, where it has been ensured that deficiencies and findings found during the spot checks have been subject to suitable rectification action by the operator in the light of the same and the financial infusion of additional funds into the company. SpiceJet had to be taken off the enhanced surveillance regime. Now, hold up. Let's look at something critical here. We're talking about an airspace, or rather an airline, low-cost airline for that matter, being under very serious surveillance. They call that kind of surveillance, it's called under the Directorate General of Civil Aviation. And this surveillance was called enhanced surveillance for a period of time. And interestingly, it turned out that the same company, low-cost airline, take note, low-cost underlined keyword, low-cost airline. We're not talking about the other ones that are pretty much high cost. Low-cost airline under this kind of scrutiny, which of course I don't think plays out in this part of the world. If you found it, please let me know. I'll give you an instance. The other time it was an aircraft that skidded off the runway, skidded off the runway because it had issues with its tires. Did that happen in Lagos? Yes, it did happen. And we're talking about a certain aircraft that is pretty much low cost, but that particular one was a Boeing aircraft, right, belonging to Arik Air specifically. Okay, I've called the name, that's it, right? But the question really is, how well are we in this part of the world scrutinizing, or rather putting under, they call it spot checks? How much is the aviation ministry really doing when it comes to maintaining a certain order in that space? Because one thing we've noticed over the past few weeks, months here on the program, we've noticed that Boeing aircraft has been very problematic in the recent times, and a lot of persons are saying that if there's an alternative, let airlines switch to those alternatives. The question is, how many airlines will be ready to switch to those alternatives to be able to safeguard lives on the plane, when in flight or on taxiing on the runway? How many? These are the issues. And where does the FAA come into play here, right? Where does the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Dynamics come into play here? These are the issues right here. We'll take a short break. You're still watching Global Business on the Afia Business Morning on Afia TV. You kindly join in on the conversation, watching live right now on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. Kindly tap in the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business. So while you're there, remember you should like and subscribe so you get notifications on all business-related content coming to you from Afia TV. And just so you know, you can follow us on our socials. We are live at on Instagram with the handle @AfiaBusiness_. And yes, this is just get interactive with us. We'll take a short break. When we come back, more stories from the other parts of the world, specifically with business. Please stay. My name is Ubon Kings.
I am Marvelous Apamaga.
I am Chioma Okpala.
My name na Ifunaya Ndule, but I'm even a market speaking.
Yeah, welcome back to the Afia Business Morning right here on Afia TV. You are still watching Global Business, and my name is Ubon Kings. Now to the rest of our stories. Now to the world of tech, where it's reported that tech giant Google, in a new effort to power its AI data centers with clean energy, has announced a deal to purchase nuclear energy from multiple small modular reactors developed by California-based Kairos Power. Well, the first such reactor to power Google's data centers is expected to be operational by 2030, followed by additional reactor deployments through to 2035. However, this deal will enable up to 500 megawatts of new 247 carbon-free power to U.S. electricity grids, as the grid needs new electricity sources to support AI technologies, which is enough to power roughly 360,000 homes with electricity annually. Quickly, let's look at something. Of course, you know I'm going to go into this one. Let's look at it. Let's look at the last paragraph here. Says this deal by Google, a company, just so you know, will enable up to 500 megawatts of new 24/7 carbon-free power to U.S. electricity grids. Hold up. Carbon-free power, underline that, to U.S. electricity grids, as the grids, they say, needs new electricity to support AI technologies, which is understandable. But then, we're talking about grids. How well has our grid done? Quite recently, the grid just collapsed. As a matter of fact, we're still recuperating from that collapse. And this is the 7th time in a very short time frame. I mean, that's 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, we recorded the 6th collapse of the national grid. And now, we just recorded, I think, yesterday, actually, we recorded another collapse of the Nigerian national grid. And the question really that comes into mind is why the in-season collapse of the national grid? And we're talking about people who are beginning to look for other alternative sources of power to power their own grid. Question is, why have we not thought about it? I keep saying it here, that we have all the things needed to make these things work. I mean, we have the sun, we have the wind, okay? We have water, we have everything. I mean, why can't we convert these things to power? Why do we keep depending on one source of power? As a matter of fact, these are some of the issues we're going to be looking at today on the Eastern Business Report, which comes right after this segment. But then, we'll just keep this conversation where it is, and when we come back at 11, we're going to be looking at those issues in a little more detail. So, now moving on, in our time to end this bulletin, let's bring you this report that German companies are finding it increasingly difficult to obtain funding, according to Munich-based think tank, the IFO Institute, where the the group's credit constraint indicator, which measures firms' access to bank loans, was recently reported to be at its highest level since 7 years. More specifically, 32.9% of around 2,000 surveyed businesses reported restrictive behavior on the part of banks in September, which is up from 27.1% in June. Moreover, looking at results across sectors, the index rose sharply among service providers from 27.0% to 35.7%, and among industry from 26.2% to 34.3%. Now, this story, I must say this categorically, is not different from what obtained as about a month ago. Yeah, I say this with all amount of responsibility because this has not really changed. I mean, there's the same issue with getting credit. The same issue in Germany now. It's the same issue. I mean, the other time we were talking about the likes of Volkswagen closing down shop, right? And quite a number of other drama happening with, of course, workers protesting and all. And then now we're getting to find out that the banks are not even willing to give out funds in the first instance to businesses. And the question is really, how do businesses grow? How do businesses expand? How do businesses even survive? Anyway, from a month ago, WION reports on this particular issue. Let's take a look.
Which is a cornerstone of Germany's economy, is particularly hard hit. The manufacturing sector, which is a cornerstone of Germany's economy, is particularly hard hit. The manufacturing PMI, that's a measure of manufacturing activity, it's remained below the contraction threshold for an extended period. And this suggests that German factories are struggling to maintain production levels. Consumer spending, often a driver of economic growth, has also been sluggish. Despite recent wage increases, German consumers seem hesitant to spend their money. And this lack of consumer confidence is further exacerbating the economic slowdown. The decline in German economy is a result of several interconnected factors: rising interest rates, geopolitical tensions, and supply chain disruptions, which have all contributed to the current crisis. These factors have made it difficult for German businesses to operate profitably. The German government has been grappling with these challenges, but finding effective solutions, that's proven to be elusive. While some measures have been implemented to support the economy, the overall outlook remains bleak. Investor confidence has also taken a hit, reaching its lowest level since January. While the European Central Bank considers further interest rate cuts to stimulate the economy, concerns remain that Germany's economic struggles could have wider implications for the...
Oh, well, we'll follow up with the stories and keep you up to date as they unfold. But then it could be in the loop, of course, if you get to our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. Kindly tap in the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business. And while you're there, remember you should like and hit the subscribe button so you can get notifications on all business-related content coming to you from Afia TV. And just so you know, you can be part of our social media community. We are live on Instagram at Afia Business _. Do well to follow us there so you get updates and things happening right here with reference to the business community on Afia TV. You're still watching the Afia Business Morning live from Afia TV. Coming up next will be a conversation around the drama, I would like to call it the drama, of the CNG industry, CNG space versus sustainable energy provision for Nigerians. We're going to be looking at that on the Eastern Business Report after this time out. My name is Ubong Kings. Stay tuned. My name is Ubon Kings.
I am Marvelous Akwamaga.
I am Chioma Akbala.
My name na Ifunaya Ndule, but I'm living in market speaking.
Looking to grow your business? At Afia TV, we've got just what you need. With our various on-screen advertising options like speechbags, lower third, sidebars, right in front of your audience. With our lower third, your brand messages appear during the most viewed programs on TV, allowing your audience to see your message without interrupting their TV experience. Now, if you want to go big, our speechbag is ideal because it puts your brand messages on spotlight without interrupting viewers' experience. With our sidebars, your brand messages also takes the spotlight on our screen, ensuring brand exposure. These advertising options are affordable, effective, and designed to drive results. Get started today and watch your business shoot up. For more inquiries, call the numbers on your screen.
The Afia Business Morning. Join me every weekday on the Afia Business Morning as we bring to you a trilogy of business segments. The opening bell where we see activities from our selected stock exchanges. The global business where we bring you up to speed on business activities making the rounds all over the world. And we bring the conversation home on the segment Eastern Business Reports as we discuss business activities and issues bedeviling businesses in the Southeast region. My name is Ubon Kings. Join the Afia Business Morning every weekday 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Exclusive to Afia TV on DSTV channel 254 and GoTV channel 17. The Afia Business Morning. Business unusual.
You're still watching the Afia Business Morning. This indeed is the Eastern Business Report, which is designed to bring you up to speed on business activities and policies as well, affecting businesses and the economy of the southeastern region of Nigeria. It comes right after Global Business on the Afia Business Morning. And on today's edition of the Eastern Business Report, we'll be looking at, powering Nigeria's economic revival, the CNG narrative. Now, the truth of the matter is, if you count from the first time the idea of the compressed natural gas, CNG, or auto gas was mooted in the country, it has been well over 30 months. Yet, no vehicle, not so much vehicle, runs on the novel innovation, which the promoters claimed to be a cheaper and cleaner source of fuel. Then in January 2022, Muhammadu Buhari, the immediate past president, in preparation for the withdrawal of the payment of petrol subsidies, announced CNG as the alternative source and the way forward. Sadly, That seemed to be a mere promise which the present administration has inherited amid making more promises on the CNG initiative to cushion the effect of high transportation fares occasioned by the incessant hike in fuel pump prices. Now, these issues and more will pretty much form the basis of our conversation this morning. My name is Ubong Kings. Welcome. It's good to have you rejoin us, and we're looking at this issue of the CNG, and is this the new alternative? Is this a new thing? Would it be sustainable? Can it even work in the first instance? These are the things we're going to be looking at, because the question that comes to mind is CNG, is it a viable alternative for power, or to fuel rather, in Nigeria? Good question to ask. But the thing is, so far, there seems to be more promises rather than actions in the rollout of the CNG initiative, as the federal government seems to keep announcing huge numbers of buses for the scheme. Now, the states claim to receive less, while the presidential CNG initiative keeps pushing the bulk of the implementation of the initiative to the states. Now, the question is it the states that are meant to implement this, or the government at the center? Now, another thing I would want to point out really is the fact that at the introduction of the presidential CNG initiative in October 2023, to promote safer, more affordable and eco-friendly energy solutions, the government disclosed a plan to pretty much roll out 5,500 CNG buses and tricycles and 100 electric buses, and over 20,000 CNG conversion kits. Hold up, let's look at this, that data again. Promised to roll out 5,500 CNG buses, one, and then on buses and tricycles, then 100 electric buses, and over 20,000 CNG conversion kits. That was what was promised by the government. And then earlier this year, there was also a promise to release 3,000 CNG fuel buses. Now, the emphasis on buses, according to the presidential CNG initiative, was due to the fact that mass transit vehicles are responsible for over 80% of petrol consumption in the country. But then again, it appears that it's more of talk than walking the talk. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll do some more. Please stay. My name is Ubon Kings.
I am Marvelous Apamaga.
I am Chioma Okpala.
My name is Ifulaya Ndule, but I'm living in a market speaking.
Yeah, welcome back, and in case you're just joining in, I am still with you here on the Eastern Business Report, and well, we're talking about an issue around powering Nigeria's economic revival, the CNG narrative, and joining me on this conversation this morning is Emmanuel Chime, who's a seasoned public affairs analyst. Emmanuel, it's good to have you join me this morning. Welcome.
And thank you. Good morning, Obong.
Yes, pretty much the idea here is the fact that we have seen successive governments, starting from Muhammadu Buhari's tenure up to Tinubu, talking big about the plans for CNG, conversion kits, buses, vehicles, etc., with reference to the fact that they're trying to see how they could reduce the cost when it comes to, purchasing fuel and all of that. But it has not translated to the expected outcome for Nigerians. Well, what are your thoughts generally on this?
Okay, what happened is that would have become so feasible if had even the policies establishing this is actually a policy that is business-oriented, that is supportive, then you discover that it's going to leave the government table as a policy, as a document, and go into the hands of decision-making circle of investors, whereby you discover that investors will now take it up and begin to invest in that area. But seeing that the economy of Nigeria is nothing to run about currently, you get up to, you wake up in the morning and you begin to hear a different thing. And the next day you begin to hear a different thing altogether. Then you discover that a lot of businesses are leaving Nigeria in droves. And you discover that CNG policy by federal government is something that federal government on their own cannot just fix on their own. In fact, anywhere in the world, no government in the world is running the economy by themselves. It is always the investors that are getting that done. Okay, but governments are meant to be making policies that actually, stem the waves of the business, and as well, provide an atmosphere whereby investors can actually play in and begin to do the game very well. But in this context, we begin to lack a lot of factors. The federal government have promised us a lot of things that have not seen come to pass at all. If we begin to name them, you discover that their names is 100 times more than that of the ones they have been able to do. Okay, so the other way around, we are still seeing it as, mere political talks and no actions at all. Because the other way around, you should know. On a normal note, Obong, if I should ask you, you have an old house. You don't have another place to be, to take a shelter. And you have a vision to build yourself, let's say a duplex, or let's say a mansion. Now, Obong, do you bring dozer to come and bring down that old house before you begin to think about how you will? You might begin to run bring the costs it's going to take you to bring to reality the mansion
that you want to build.
Do you first bring down the house, or do you first begin to put things together? Then midway, you bring down the one that you are living. This is exactly what we pass through, or what we are seeing today in Nigeria. We destroy the one that we have been making use of, we have been managing, then believing that we're going to bring in another innovation or thereabout, another option. Whereas the option, there are no provisions, there are no even calculations gearing towards that at all. So, and that's why we're now finding ourselves, at a state of precarious tendency, and nobody knows exactly where we're heading.
Now, still going back to what I saw, ahead of this administration's one-year anniversary of the presidency, actually in April 2024, said they were ready to launch about 2,700 CNG-powered buses and tricycles before May 29, 2024. We all waited for that day. As a matter of fact, I did, but I didn't see anything. Now, this is plus the other numbers he mentioned. They mentioned that there'll be 5,500 CNG buses and tricycles, 100 electric buses. Question, electric buses, really, do we even have the power in the first instance? But straight from that day. And over 20,000 CNG conversion kits. And you just said something now that it appears that this is just mere rhetoric and political jamboree on the part of government. Do you still stand with that notion?
It doesn't even need my opinion for you to see that that's a reality we are living with. For goodness sake, that's where we are dwelling in it. We see that the promises are just mere talks, mere rhetoric.
Excuse me.
They are not working. They are not functional. So for goodness sake, just like I told you, a lot of promises that we've gotten from this government, the previous government and the one we're having today. If we begin to calculate them, you discover that it's over 100 times than the ones we've been able to see coming as if it's becoming a reality. All right. So when you talk about what they promised, why they marked 1 year anniversary, they begin to talk about, including the previous government, the erstwhile President Muhammadu Buhari. His Minister of Aviation as at then, that's how the Sirika, he rightly promised Nigerians that before the administration of the president, erstwhile President Muhammadu Buhari, will be over, that Nigeria is going to be manufacturing a plane. Maybe today we're already manufacturing it somewhere, maybe in his backyard or there, or in his dreams. So for goodness sake, we have been receiving a whole lot of promises that are not feasible. And mind you, most of all these promises receives financial backing. But finally, where is the finance we did not see? Where is the promise being made reality we did not see? So nobody is asking them questions on why is this not working. Are we talking about including our refineries today? None is functioning. I mean, I thought that what we would have done is we immediately conceived the idea that we are swapping over to CNG instead of fossil fuel any longer. Then I thought that what we would have done is to begin to channel all our strength, all our arsenal to the area of CNG ecosystem, begin to, release grants, release low-interest loans to interested investors and encourage them to go into that sector, to go and develop that, so that this issue of only Dangote being the sole refinery in Nigeria and, manipulating the prices of fuel or petrol in Nigeria, such wouldn't have been our reality today. In as much as you also understand that the government seems not to be so sincere about whatever they are doing. You can imagine what is happening with even the Dangote refined fuel, whereby you discover Dangote in the first phase of lifting the petroleum product from his refinery by NNPC. NNPC came and gave us a very huge price, and Dangote said, this is not what we sold to them. And they claim this is what we bought from them. At the time, they presented a fake document and said, this is what we bought from them. And Dangote said, no. I mean, the person who sold to you, he's still living, he's still speaking. He said, no, this is not what I sold to you. I didn't sell to you at this cost. And you went and doctored your own document and presented to the nation and said, this is what we bargained with these guys. So you're going to buy at so and so cost. So it's just to tell you that the government does not seem to be worried about the struggles and the sufferings of the society. They doesn't seem to. Because when we are talking about CNG, we actually meant to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal, right? But you now see that, one, the CNG is not coming, then including a private investor, that's Dangote in this context, who have been able to establish refinery to cushion this effect. So that we don't talk about importation duties again or thereabout, subsidy this, subsidy that. Then instead of the government now supporting as well, so that this will help the nation, instead of doing that, they went ahead to inflate the price, including Ipman. As at last week, we are shouting that the NNPC is inflating the price of petroleum products coming from Dangote. So for goodness sake, do you not think that the government who is doing this, who is withholding these people, will be that sincere to give you CNG? They are not interested in doing that. The other day, the only thing they did was that they rolled out few number of them according to paper, to labor, right? To labor. So that labor, I think it's all about telling labor, close your mouth. Let's have some rest. They rolled it out to labor. Now, labor, how many persons are labor officials? How many occasions do labor get together to, make mass movements? What we should be talking about is, if you are coming from Woody, my ancestral home, to Enugu Metropolis today, what's the cost of transportation from Woody to Enugu Metropolis? How do we cushion the effect of that high cost? Because my grandfathers, my grandmothers over there in the hinterland, they don't have much they are doing that is giving them money. The farm products they are bringing out, the farm produce they are bringing out to sell, who are buying them? How much are they realizing from them? Of course, they don't even have the strength again to go and cultivate what will give them commercial quantity to come and sell in the market any longer. So, but for them to now come over to maybe to the city, maybe for medical checks or thereabout, then they will have to now go and make borrowing for them to find their way to the city. Now, that's what we are talking about. Federal government should provide these minimal means of making movement, so that they can be able to make move from that hinterland up to the town, or from town to wherever again, or even their farm products. They should be able to transport them to where they will be able to find who is interested in buying them.
Now, finally, just before we go, do you think CNG is a viable alternative to fuel? As in fossil fuels, talking about the likes of PMS specifically in Nigeria. Do you think so?
Okay, Obon, you should know that Nigeria is quite a pity that Nigeria is just running around a circle and discussing what other nations of the world have left years ago. All right? We're no longer even talking about Tesla's car. Tesla's car is even going out of the system already. You can see what Elon Musk just did the other day. He rolled out the one he called, is that cyber stuff, one cyber-related product he rolled out that crashed down the stock of the Teslas. Okay, so then you now begin to discover that the world is living. Where we are struggling to enter is where the world have led for a long time. Take, for instance, federal government is celebrating today. As of days ago, the presidency, under the auspices of Minister of Education, rightly, rolled out a policy saying that they're going to include skill acquisition. They listed some skills, basic skills that everybody who is passing through our education system in Nigeria must study, right? They now start talking about repairs of phones, repairs of touch, repairs of television, how to install DSTV and more. Then I begin to ask a question. If we are only training our people on how to repair what others have invented, what happened to our brain? Can't we invent? Can't we start talking about how to become engineers who are going to be creating what it takes to be refining our crude? Why not we talk about how to produce engineers who are going to be running mining on our own in Nigeria? Because we have these raw materials beneath our earth. But we allow other people to come and mine them for us because we don't know the technique, we don't have the technical know-how. But our people actually usually do it, manually, do it so locally. Then maybe we'll say unprofessionally. But they still have results. Don't like we'll have a lot of refineries today within the Niger Delta region that you see our military going there to go and destroy them, and we call them illegal refineries. Some of them at the time we branded them modular refineries. We'll keep destroying them. Now, why are we destroying them? These guys, nobody taught them. They learned it on their own. And this is what we bring international companies to come and invest in those areas to be doing them professionally. Why not we teach our people to become professional in those areas? Because we have these particular raw materials in our ground. So why not we begin to teach our people on how to get things done, how to create things, instead of chasing shadows of those who are ahead of us? Why not we look at them and begin to copy their templates and begin to think on how to, have our own front? So when we talk about whether CNG is actually a better alternative, it is not. Many nations have left CNG. I'm talking about rechargeable vehicles and more. But are you aware that we keep having power grid failure from time to time?
We just did recently.
Under 24 hours twice, it collapsed. Now, how are we going to be able to talk about rechargeable vehicles? But why is it that in Southeast, we don't have a single dam that is functional in Southeast that could be a kind of backup should this kind of a thing happen? Why is it that in Southeast, we cannot secure an interest, we cannot secure an understanding with federal government to begin to use our coal in Enugu and generate electricity that will serve Southeast? Why is it that we are not talking about how to use the wastes we are generating in Southeast, the five basic states that made up Southeast, to begin to use them and generate heat? Biogas. Use them to power Southeast, give Southeast power, give Southeast light, so that this kind of a thing, whenever it happens, we'll be able to have a backup. Why is it that we're not thinking about that? Why is it that we are not thinking about how to leave even the CNG? Have you seen where that CNG exploded?
Yes, I have.
Thank you. So these are also hazards that I don't know those who brought in the idea, whether they actually thought of that.
Oh well, I wish we had time.
So for goodness sake, and we don't have the smooth road where which it can always sail through and nothing would trouble
without turbulence.
So and you know that whenever you are having a lot of shaking, then such inflammable substances is bound to explode.
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. I wish we had more time. We don't. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for coming through.
And God bless you.
Anyway, in case you just joined in, I played host to Emmanuel Chime, who is a seasoned public affairs analyst, and we took out the time to look at issues around powering Nigeria's economic revival, the CNG narrative. And just so you know, we're going to continue this conversation next week. Yes, indeed, I'm also going to be having someone who will be joining us, an engineer who is of the opinion that this would work in this part of the world. We'll take a look at that conversation next week. Drop off a comment or two on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel, as well as www.youtube.com/Afia Business. And while you're there, remember you should subscribe so you get notifications on all business-related content coming to you from Afia TV. And follow us on Instagram with the handle at Afia Business _ just so that you're part of our social media community. Thank you for your time once, twice, and a million more times. Coming up next will be Onyafia. My name is Ubong Kings. Stay tuned.
Hello, welcome Afia to the Onyafia podcast, where we talk about trade and the lifestyle of a hustler. My name is Harald Chelo, and today in the studio, I have someone I look up to personally with me in the studio today.